Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for February 21st through 25th. How are you doing? Well, what a strange feeling time. We've got this pressure building with Venus and Mars together and Vesta now in the mix. Vesta, the asteroid representing our sacred fire, our spiritual purpose and passion, sacred work. Massive activation in this, and then next week coming up to Pluto together. So it's just this like squeezing feeling. These now they're at 22 degrees Capricorn, 21 degrees, and that means they're coming up into a sextile relationship with Neptune. So it's kind of like this whole energy is moving together: Venus, Mars, Vesta, and then coming up to Pluto. So the next transit is the sextile with Neptune. Now we've got the Sun in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, Jupiter in Pisces. It's a lot of Pisces energy. So there's this kind of like pressure, Capricorn pressure feeling, but then this like weird Pisces. And indeed, we're getting into the mysteries of what's kept us trapped in the mind control of the Piscean age. Because it's like with a Piscean energy, you can't quite tell what's real, what's not real. And yet Capricorn's very real. It's like, so there's this pressure, and it all surrounds, it's all coming down to this energy of like, you can only hold back a spiritual evolution for so long, and it just feels like we're just on the edge, and that feeling of in the birth canal. So this Pisces energy is kind of bringing this like confusion. Wait, what am I even doing? Am I even here? Am I even on a planet? What's even going on here? But there's a beautiful energy to Pisces. It gives us an opportunity to dream a new dream. So it's like we're wavering, between these energies. And indeed, this mysteries of the Piscean age, because the Pluto and Capricorn represents so much of what got us trapped in the Piscean age, in control energy. And so there's this, Pluto represents breaking down and transformation. And in Capricorn, it's the authoritarian structures, the structures of our life, of hierarchical on any level of our life, these structures, so it really just speaks to where we've given our power away. And then what does that even mean? And how do we take it back? So the height, the crux of the issues of the Piscean age are right in our face right now, because it feels like there's this last hold energy on trying to hold back this evolution, trying to hold back the spiritual awakening, trying to hold back the magic and the spirit and the Christ consciousness. And it's like, yeah, good try, guys. But they're not going to give up without a fight. They're not going to be like, oh, okay, I guess it looks like you guys are winning. No. And so we're in this very strange place where it feels like a chokehold, kind of like you can't really move. And yet we've got retrograde season is coming to a close. So this should be an interesting dynamic on the 24th, Thursday, is when Mercury comes out of retrograde shadow. And on that day, Mercury will be coming up into a square with Uranus. So again, it's like Mercury's like, oh, finally making it somewhere, finally getting out of this shadow. And then it's like, bam, right into a square, just as he's about to get some traction. And doesn't that feel like our world right now? And it just kind of makes you go, fuck, forget it. I'm just going to throw my hands up and go hide in a cave for a little while. But this is important because Uranus in Taurus is this wealth revolution, or this awakening of wealth. And so with Mercury in Aquarius coming to the final last week of this retrograde season, and then it's like, so it's Mercury in Aquarius having gone retrograde is like, what kind of shift of our perspective needs to happen for us to move into the Aquarian age? And in this case, it's saying an awakening of wealth and self-worth and value. And so it's like, oh, well, here we are again, but for supernova souls, very powerful message. It's like the Aquarian age is about uncovering the gifts and skills, the truth of who you are, maybe who you don't even know who you are, and these skills and gifts you don't even know you have. Literally, we're like dropping in our bodies. It's like that bigger self incarnating. And so the square is everything, because it's saying, yeah, all right, you're trying to shift your perspective into the Aquarian age. And, I guess it's kind of a picture of like focusing on all of the things out there in the world that need to change, which there's a lot of them. But there's this here, this us being willing to step into our light and our truth. I don't even know what that means. It's very individual. But we're at this point where the pressure is on to transform. But we don't really know even what that means. But it's ultimately about uncovering these amazing gifts and skills that we have. And, as that happens, this awakening, this turning on of our love light that's we're being pushed into, that's game over for the dark side. It just, maybe that's why it's so weird right now, because we're just on the verge of this awakening energy. And it's at the point where it's pushing the envelope on the control energies to the point where they're just having to dismantle. And it's about time. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. This current astrology is actually like, it's coming into a very supportive energy here, because yeah, we got this Capricorn, but Venus and Mars together and Vesta are sacred work, and coming up with Pluto, breaking down everything that's not in alignment with that. And there's some harmony energy. We've got, we're still feeling the North Node and trying to Pluto. We've had Jupiter in sextile to Uranus, and that's also pressure of this expand. Jupiter wants to expand in Pisces, expanding into Christ consciousness, spirituality, the dream, like feeling good, community, celebration. And again, the sextile to Uranus says, well, then you gotta step into who you are. And again, I don't know exactly what that means, but a big part of this is that Mars and Venus together and Vesta are about working together. So we can't actually step into our power and our beautiful spiritual gifts we've worked so hard for so many lifetimes and evolutions alone. I mean, we kind of have to cross that. There's that slaying the dragon, and you can go together. It's ultimately something you do by yourself. But what we're coming to do here, and our projects and supernova souls at this time of transition, we need to work together. And maybe that's one of the big things that's holding us up, because there's been so much fear programming around coming together, and just keeping us so isolated. I feel like supernova souls are feeling more isolated than they've ever felt right now. And it doesn't make any sense, because we're so close. And so there's an energy, just to kind of understand that this Capricorn has an energy of work and hard work paying off, but also intensity and pressure, especially with Pluto there. But we get through all of it, and we come into our gifts and skills, and we do what we're here to do, and we awaken to the light within us by working together. So that's a really powerful message. And it's like, maybe this is part of what we're feeling, this very uncomfortable, just like, God, it feels like a massive change It's trying to happen, but it's stuck in the pipes. It's like not going anywhere. And it feels like a flip of polarity. And that polarity flip will allow for supernova souls to attract magnetically together rather than repel each other the way we've been stuck in these paradigms. So now Venus and Mars and Vesta will be coming into this sextile with Neptune that is going to be later this week. And that's the same time that Mercury will be in a square with Uranus. But that sextile with Neptune is really sweet. It's like, come on, you guys, like we can break down these boundaries and walls and false bullshit control energy that's kept us quarantined. We know we're so much stronger than this, but it's like the big bad boogeyman is trying to scare us away from our destiny. And it's like, there's just way too many of us. Sorry, go back to the Piscean age, but this is not going to happen anymore. There are so many enlightened, powerful souls on the planet right now, and masters embodied, and it feels like we're all alone, like the only people that have any awareness on any. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like supernova souls are feeling. And it's just like all delusion. So in this time of Pisces energy, it's really important to pull our energy back into our center. Like when you find yourself off in the mental, trying to figure it out and sorting through and what am I feeling and all that, it's like we're feeding the agendas. There's so many agendas. There's like a whole mind control agenda in our whole planet. Keep trying to get all of us in the matrix and controllable. And it's just impossible. They've already lost, right? But they're going to do as much damage as they can on the way out. And so there's a powerful energy available to us in this intensity right now around breaking free. Now, maybe this is the Mercury coming out of retrograde shadow, because a big message we got with Mercury retrograde in Aquarius was like, Capricorn Aquarius is like breaking free from mind control, where we think we're having a conversation with ourselves, but it's like forces in the psychological mind constantly trying to distract us and make us scared. And the boogeyman is Oz behind the curtain. There's nothing actually there to back him up. And but the energy is so confusing, right? It's easy to get pulled into very confusing psychological places right now. And it's interesting because I'm typically like, don't get distracted, but it's like, it's almost a good time to just get distracted, to put all your energy into a project or something. And so that you're in charge. Because when you're working in that way, this is the positive energy of Capricorn, then you're single focused and you are not allowing your energies to go to these, into these weird psychological realms. And it just feels like this is getting really powerful. And right when you think that, it's almost like they want the energy that's being piped into the airways right now is like, you can never win. Why don't you go ahead and give up? Why don't you go ahead and hide away? And, there's nobody else out there. You're all alone on this planet, and it's like, yeah, we're not buying it. We're not buying it. And, but it's giving us an opportunity to understand the power of our mind and to be able to use our mind to break free from mind control. And so it's like, just with all this Pisces energy, it feels like it's easy to get caught in the weeds. But let's check out this sextile. with Neptune. So this is this exact same day that Mercury is in square to Uranus. So that's pretty powerful because it's like, all right, we're ready to break out of the final trap. And yet there's this bloom of confusion and delusion, but also the magic. So this is part of the energy right now too, which doesn't make sense. There should be a crack opening in the sky with the light coming in right now. You know, like we're having a spiritual awakening. And so we're in the squeezing before that happens. And it's like, it feels like for supernova soul, that energy of spiritual support and connection is further than it's ever been, you know? But maybe that's it. Maybe we're just so close. It's like darkest just before the dawn. Because the astrology is saying it's going to be glorious. Now, so when on Thursday or Friday, when Mercury is in square to Uranus and Venus, Mars, Vesta, sextile, Neptune, it feels like there is an opening there to this feeling of this spiritual energy coming in. And then now what happens when Mercury is at that square? Mercury will be at 11 degrees, Uranus at 11 degrees, Taurus. And then Jupiter is at 12 degrees, not too far from 11. And Chiron is at 10 degrees in Aries. So this is a lining up in the sky, which is also always this activating energy. So it'll be Mercury at 11 degrees Aquarius, Jupiter at 12 degrees Pisces, Chiron at 10 degrees Aries, and Uranus at 11 degrees Taurus. So a square between Mercury and Uranus, but then within that, there's these semi-sextiles. And sextiles, this is the sextile we've been feeling with Jupiter in sextile to Uranus. So that also puts Mercury in sextile to Chiron. So it's a mystical, magical opening in the veil. You know, and it's interesting because it's like we have this clamp down energy, but it's so opposite of what's actually happening, you know? And as we move into these light activations and awareness, it's like you can't go back from that, right? Like once you attain a certain level of this awakening, you can't go back. And so it's like we're teetering on the edge of these dark ages, and they're like threatening to come back in. And it's like, just gremlins and energies that are trying to scare us and don't have any power at any level. But that's where we come into like, oh, my attention. This is the power of mind control, right? Is bringing back our attention to where we want it to be, not on the distractions. So this is giving us a powerful opportunity to break free in a way that we didn't even know was possible. And that seems to be culminating now. So after this sex thing in the sky that happens, and that's going to be basically this Thursday, Friday, Saturday about, then Venus and Vesta and Mars come into a trine with the North Node. And we've had Pluto in trine to the North Node. And it's kind of like, yeah, everything's got to break down, but it's going to be okay. And so that's a sweet energy. And that happens Monday, Tuesday. Then next week, we've got that new moon in Pisces. So the new moon in Pisces is powerful because, wow, I don't even know what to make of it. All of our personal planets are in conjunctions. And so that will be the sun and the moon coming together for the new moon. And this is on March 2nd. So the sun and the moon together, but then with Jupiter. Whew, sun, moon, Jupiter, Pisces, expanding into the magic, right? Like enough of the dark ages. Give us the magic back of the Piscean age. And then Venus, Mars, Vesta, Pluto all together in Capricorn. And then the sun and the moon will also be in a sextile to Uranus in Taurus. And then Mercury will be in a conjunction with Saturn. So, ooh, it's game changer. And it almost looks like the window, somebody cleaned the window, right? And it's been dark and it's like we're stuck in this matrix and we're stuck in this weird hologram. And then it's like, wait a minute, there's something out there, you know? So through the window pane, seeing way bigger possibilities. So hang in there, because I know that it's very individual, but it's like a big squeezing energy. And if that's affecting you because of your birth chart or where you're at and about to pop out of your starseed shell into your true potential. Now, as I say that, there's an energy, we've been programmed with fear, this is something scary, this awakening and this activation, and that's just programming. Of course we're programmed because they don't want us to awaken. And we're on the verge of, like, it's like whack-a-mole right now. There's been a couple people and then they're like, oh, come on, pull back into the matrix. No. And then it's like way too many pea pods. They're exploding into their true potential. And a powerful message here about we do this together. So open up in your psyche and your awareness to these possibilities. It's like, if we've had this, like, what the dark energies want us to feel right now is like there's no hope and you're never going to get anywhere and why even bother? And it's actually the exact opposite. And we have so much potential. We have so much, like I said, more advanced souls on the planet holding down the vibration than we've ever had before. We even have legions of light working for us. There's been some really powerful, enlightened souls that have passed, and they are working with us. They are an army. And it's just like nothing can hold back the dawn anymore. And so we've got to kind of birthing, though, it does feel like we're in the birth canal, and birthing does have that feeling of it's dark, it's scary, we're not getting anywhere just before that baby pops through. And so maybe just remember that this is a rebirth and nothing can stop it. And we're in it together. And we're going to be working together doing amazing things, just not too far around the corner here. So it's an interesting energy of juxtaposition of this Capricorn pressure, awakening into our light and gifts, just Superman trying to break out, and then this dreamy but confusing Pisces energy, where we're kind of just like feeling our way through the dark. And it's also our opportunity to the light and Christ consciousness. And there's a dark cloud, but this is flooding our planet right now. So breathe in that energy, find that strength within, psychically open to your connection with your soul group, knowing that that's absolutely the next stage. And whatever you're going through in this rebirth process, your whole soul group is feeling it. So you're not alone. So I hope you'll consider joining. Keep an eye out for that new moon in Pisces. That is going to be on the 2nd. And we'll do an activation for that too. And so really interesting energies, I guess, the perfect storm to bring us into our power and back together. and stepping into that light of who we really are, and pushing that veil, and trusting we know what we're doing. So powerful. Maybe that's part of this energy. It's like there's a huge agenda to keep us isolated, especially advanced souls, because when you're alone, it's really hard to get a grasp on who you are and what it is you're doing. But when you're together, it's like, oh, reflecting back, and we can support each other. And so maybe that's this powerful message right here. It's like, break down all of the walls that are keeping us from coming together. You know, it's time for all the hard work that we've done over many lifetimes and evolutions to begin to pay off. And we start living right here, right now. What do you say? So keep breathing, keep loving, keep getting through, and feeling into your soul group. We're all here together. So much love to you, supernova souls. Until next time, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.